Mark Simmons.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. The bill in its current form is absolutely necessary to support our high streets. It strikes a fairer balance between small businesses and large, and I'm pleased to have contributed to most of the stages of its progress. Now, I rise today to address some of the amendments put forward by the other place, which I think would reduce the effectiveness of the bill in achieving its stated purpose. Amendments 2, 5, 8 and 11 seek to exempt anchor stores from the higher multipliers, thus reducing the overall revenue raised by this bill. Now, by reducing that revenue, the amendments actually reduce the support available to smaller retail, hospitality and leisure businesses, the entire purpose of this legislation. I also have some concern that, as well as reducing the overall revenue, defining what an anchor store is could create problems for our high streets and our town centres. Now, during the debate in the other place, it was said that the Treasury could decide what an anchor store is, but it was also admitted that this would still be a difficult term to define. It's not uncommon, it's not untrue to state that several shops on a high street can indeed lay claim to that title, and I can foresee difficulties there if the amendment was to pass. It's also true that anchor stores can often be the largest store in town, as we've heard in the debate today, usually part of a big chain, with supermarkets being an obvious example. Therefore, the effect of this amendment would be to exempt these larger businesses from the higher multiplier, again reducing the support available to the smaller businesses. Note, the entire purpose of this bill is to support our smaller retail, leisure and hospitality businesses, paid for by that higher multiplier on larger businesses. Unlike the opposition, we like to ensure that our numbers add up. Now, of course I would.
What would he say to businesses who are trying to make their numbers add up, when their promise, their commitment in the manifesto and before that, was that you were levelling the playing field between online giants and small businesses? And as he conceded, that's not what's happening here. It is many different premises, manufacturers, large bricks and mortar retailers are being hit by these increases. What would he say to them that when there's no sign of any increase in their rates, but because of this bill, that is exactly what they're going to see?
Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm grateful for his intervention. This bill is designed specifically to revive our high streets. He will remember, because his party was in government, that our high streets were struggling. They were suffocating under the last government, and it's incumbent on this new government to revive them. So that's why it's so important that we pass this legislation today. And he makes the point about manufacturing, and his colleague chirps from a sedentary position. But I think it's very important. I think it's very important that we recognise that this government is also supporting manufacturing too. But there are other mechanisms with which to do that. The bill that we are pursuing today, the bill that we are passing today, is all about supporting our high streets, and I'm very proud to support it. Now, I want to talk about Queen Street just briefly in my constituency. Queen Street is in Morley. It's right in the centre. You're welcome to visit any time, Madam Deputy Speaker. There's a lot on offer, and almost all of it comes directly from small businesses. Now, these amendments that we've talked about so far do not prioritise them, nor do they prioritise the smaller parades of shops that we have in Farnley, in Driglington, in Gildersome or Wortley, and they do nothing for the shops and businesses in Ardsley, Tingley, Robin Hood or Lofthouse. That's why I can't support these amendments today. I back Morley High Street along with all of the small businesses that I represent in my constituency. Now, moving on, Madam Deputy Speaker, to the only other amendments I'd like to speak on today. I'm going to speak briefly on Lord's Amendments 15, 17, 18 and 19, which would, in effect, reintroduce the tax break for private schools. Now, we've had this argument on private schools at the general election, in this House, in bill committees, and now again today. And as a former maths teacher at a state school in Leeds, I'm more than happy to cover all ground to reinforce an argument. Now, the proposed amendments seek to remove an integral part of the bill that generates the revenue we need to support our plans in government. I will make absolutely no apologies for supporting the 94% of children that attend state schools. We all, and I include everyone in this house, we all want children to have the best opportunities in life with the highest quality teaching in our schools to match. It should be a basic function of the state to provide a well-funded, excellent state school place for all students, whether parents choose to take advantage of that or not. Now, on these benches, as we've proven over recent months, we are prepared to actually take the action necessary to ensure that all children can access the kind of education that they all deserve through the state. So the £70 million that is raised from this measure in this bill today, alongside the other revenue-raising measures that we've taken, Madam Deputy Speaker, in the budget, they will result and do result in a real terms increase in per-pupil funding for the 94% that attend our state schools. And I am very proud to support that. We will never make any apologies for properly funding those state schools by ending the tax breaks that were previously enjoyed by private institutions. That's why I will not be voting for these amendments today. So to conclude, Madam Deputy Speaker, I am pleased to support this bill in its current unamended form. I will support our high streets, it will give confidence to small businesses, and it will give state schools the funding they desperately need.